Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for coming out tonight. I'd like to call to order this regular meeting of the City of the Highland Park Plan and Design Commission for January 6th, 2026. First order of business, if you could call the roll.
Mr. Chairman.
Director Fontaine.
Commissioner Inchik.
Here.
Commissioner Fettner. Commissioner Henry.
Here.
Commissioner Mantis.
Here.
Commissioner Moore. Vice Chair Nanis.
Here.
And Chair Kirsch.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Okay. We have a short agenda tonight, one big,
Just to recognize, I
sorry.
want to recognize Corporation Counsel Martinez and Council Member Yumi Ross, Council Liaison. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I jumped the gun. We have one main item on the agenda tonight, re-subdivision. But first, let's get to the minutes from the December 16th meeting. I have a motion to accept those minutes.
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
Any discussion, additions, corrections?
Nope.
If not, then all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And no abstentions. Okay, that passes. So we'll move on to our main piece of business tonight. It is a public hearing, PUD 2025-00-081 for a special use permit in the nature of a planned development with modifications from city code and a plat of re-subdivision with variances from city code at 147 Central Avenue. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Highland Park Plan and Design Commission. My name is Steve Kirsch. A quorum of the Plan and Design Commission being present, the members of the Plan and Design Commission will now introduce themselves for the record, starting on my far right.
Kristen Inchek.
Danny Mantis. Josh Nanis. Ken Henry.
The Plan and Design Commission is charged with hearing applications for rezonings, plan developments, and subdivisions under the zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations of the City of Highland Park. In all matters, we recommend to the City Council based upon the testimony presented to us in the hearing. We are required to decide cases within 45 days after receipt of the transcript. All testimony is under oath. Both applicants and others who wish to speak on a particular case should present specific evidence as to why a proposal meets or fails to meet the standards for the relief requested. For clarity of our record, only one person at a time will speak, and all questions will be directed through the chair. We ask that you make every effort to not be repetitive in your testimony. Finally, we will make every effort to adhere to the schedule prepared. For tonight's hearing, if additional time is needed on a matter, it will be continued until the next available agenda. With that, I open the floor to the staff of the Plan and Design Commission to read into the record proof of publication and ownership.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Proof of publication and ownership are available for viewing at the Offices of Community Development, 1150 Half Day Road in Highland Park. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Is it Senior Planner Hoffman, is that correct? Or just Planner?
Just Planner 2.
Planner 2 Hoffman, are you presenting tonight?
I am. Promotions.
I wonder when I should make my statement.
That would make sense, I believe, right now, right?
Right now. I'm sorry, I needed to ask.
I'm sorry, do you wish to make a statement,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ross?
Chair Kirsch, thank you. I am here, obviously, in my position as city council, not personally, but I wish to disclose and be completely transparent here that I live across the street from this project, and I know all the parties on I call it both sides. I mean, the owners, I obviously know neighbors, and I know all the parties. I spoke with Corporation Counsel at length this afternoon, and I believe I can be impartial and fair in this matter, but I wished to disclose that. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
So yes, I am Patrick Hoffman, Planner 2 with the City of Highland Park, and I will be discussing the plan development and plat of re-subdivision for 147 Central Avenue. The recommendation is for staff recommends the commission consider the request for a first final plan development and a plat of re-subdivision with variations and make a recommendation to City Council. If appropriate, the commission can direct findings of fact, recommending approval, direct denial, or continue to a future date. Project summary. The subject property is 147 Central Avenue. Petitioner was Greg Moyer. Property owner, Atide Associates LLC, and Gail Rothner as trustee. The existing property is currently one buildable lot located within the R4 zoning district and the Lakefront Density and Character Overlay Zone, LFOZ for short. The proposal is to re-subdivide the lot to create two separate and independent legal lots of record. Here's an aerial of the property, and in yellow, this dotted line here is a approximate location of where the new lot lines will be. This would be a proposed lot 2, and this would be a proposed lot 1 with the existing property, which is a locally landmarked property. This is a plat of subdivision, but because of the size of the property, it triggered the PUD requirement. Since this property is larger than 3 acres in size, it requires a full PUD review. There's no structure development for this proposal. It is just the plat of subdivision. There's no demolition and review. It's just to review the plat of subdivision. Commission should they consider, if approved, whether the future construction, if by right zoning compliant, can proceed with a permit. So just if on lot 2, if that new single family home were to be constructed, it's up for your consideration whether that just go for a permit if it is by right. If they do require variations, they would have to come in for an amendment to the PUD. And as I stated previously, this property is locally landmarked, and since this is in for a PUD review, there is a historic review component of this property. It hasn't gone before HBC yet. That is going January 8th, which is in 2 days. Once that has been reviewed, I will provide comments from staff and from the commission for a future PDC meeting.
Yeah, can I make one comment on that, Patrick?
Yeah.
So just to be clear, so that's a finding that the commission would have to make, you know, how, you know, there's findings of fact, that's sub C within the listed findings of fact. And so, yeah, we just put that up there to acknowledge that the property is locally landmarked, and then that this is going to the Historic Preservation Commission on January 8th and possibly subsequent meeting thereafter. And so that it would be our goal to bring those comments and feedback back to the commission so the commission can be informed by that before making a finding on this.
So similar to inclusionary housing where we get a housing commission recommendation back before you make your recommendation, Mr. Chair, the same thing would happen. But it's the Historic Preservation Commission.
And we also, oh, go ahead.
Just want to recognize that Commissioner Moore is present for the record.
Right. Well, and we also, yeah, we just also bring this up because again, we acknowledge the property has a local landmark designation. And so what is the Plan and Design Commission's scope related to that? Well, your scope is this finding right there from section 150.520 sub C. Thanks, that's all I had to say.
Since this is a PUD, I just wanted to talk about the public benefit portion of this. They're not asking for any section 150 zoning code variations, so they are not required to provide any public benefit for this PUD. However, the applicant has stated that they will be making a $2,500 donation to the city for historic preservation purposes. So the proposal this blue isn't showing up as well as I thought it was going to, is here are the two lots. Lot 1 here, highlighted in blue, is this L shape with the existing locally landmarked property. And lot 2 here will be the new property off to the east. Currently it is one lot and they're proposing 2 lots. Both lots are compliant with the R4 zoning district. That's one of our single-family zoning districts. And with the LFOZ, an important component of the LFOZ, R4 zoning district requires 20,000 square feet minimum area for each lot. While within the LFOZ, you need double that, so you need 40,000 square feet. These lots are close to 90,000 square feet, so they're well above those minimums, but that's kind of one of the big components of the LFOZ. So these are just the design standards for section 151 plat of subdivision. They're asking for 3 variations. I did talk to Cal Bernstein, the legal representation on this case earlier today. And the creation of a nonconformity, it's hard to see on here, but there is a kind of a path that crosses over where the lot lines will be. They have said that they will be removing that, so that nonconformity will no longer be before you, but it is currently shown here, so that's just something that we'll clean up for a future meeting. So the 2 variations that we're really going to be focusing on are the lot shape and kind of the frontage on 2 streets. So first, lot shape. There's the 151 standard is that you can only create lots with 4 sides. As you can see, because of 1, just the existing conditions, and 2, lot 1 being this L shape, both lots have more than 4 straight sides, partially just with the curve of Park Ave here, and also it being surrounded by the steep slope zone. And the second is relations to streets. So the through lots are prohibited for the subdivision code. This is an existing condition. If this property does have frontage along Park and Central Ave. Lot 1 will be the only through lot in this subdivision. Lot 2 will be an interior lot, but that is a variation to the subdivision code. And then looking at the tree survey. So the existing driveway, how it is you enter here on Central Ave and then it loops towards the existing home. The proposal is to keep that existing driveway, but that will now focus on lot 2, and then to create a new driveway for lot 1 to go to the existing house. This proposal will remove 1 street tree from Central Ave as proposed by the applicant. The forestry department did post some comments. We're working with the applicant on obtaining the kind of highlighting of which trees would be removed if lot 2 were to be developed. And forestry also had comments on, while the applicant has proposed 1 tree removal along Central Ave, the trees adjacent to the driveway are rather close and could be within the critical root structure of those trees. So while they're only removing 1 tree, it is possible to lose up to 3, depending on the construction of that driveway and how much damage is sustained to the root structure of the neighboring trees. Engineering didn't really have comments on the subdivision. Their comments more focused on if lot 2 were to be developed, focusing on the steep slope zone and excavation of the site. And historic preservation, again, will be reviewed on January 8th, so we'll be getting more comments on that aspect as well. Agency comments, Lake County also focused on wetlands within the steep slope zone. Those wetlands were located at the bottom of the ravines. Again, I'm working with the applicant on hammering out all of those comments, and you can see their full comments in the staff report, but it's mostly focused on identifying the wetlands and permitting on those issues. Utilities didn't have any comments for this subdivision, and the Park District of Highland Park, which is a direct neighbor, also did not have any comments on this proposed subdivision. We received 2 public comments today. I have printed them out and provided them to all the board members. Additionally, I have copies here if anyone would like to see those comments as well. I'll be posting those comments in the next PDC packet for future meetings to look at as well. So just kind of reiterate, staff recommends commission consider the request for a final plan development and plat of re-subdivision with variations and make a recommendation to city council. If appropriate, commission can direct staff to draft findings of fact for approval, denial, or continue. How the setup for the historic preservation is currently set up, we're recommending continuing this to February 17th PDC meeting for the next future available date. That's all I have. If you have any questions, I'd be, Joe.
Questions from the commission? All right.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just before we hear from the applicant, can I say something?
Yes, you may.
So, a couple things. So that stretch of Central Avenue has quite an interesting and well-done street tree line. It isn't typical, in my opinion, respectfully, in that it's quite nice and they're quite close together. And so while I know that there's one street tree that would have to be removed to create that second driveway, I do think that understanding more about the abutting trees there would be important because it may turn into 3 as was presented here this evening. There is a way to avoid affecting that right away, and this is a PUD, as you know. The commission could consider a common driveway setup where there's the existing drive that's there now that actually does serve what would be these 2 new lots. And so one could have a access easement requirement and, cross easements and all that, and spare the additional driveway apron and entrance and loss of at least 1 street tree and possibly 2 others. So just wanted to be able to say that, and I thank you for your indulgence. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we hear from the petitioner?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Cal Bernstein. I'm the attorney for the applicant, and I'm prepared to be sworn in.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Thank you. And let me begin by wishing you all a Happy New Year. And so let me just dive into the issue that Director Fontaine just brought up, and that's with regard to the street tree that we were talking about. The tree that's contemplating to be removed is actually brand new. It's a 2-inch tree that was just planted. And so what the plan is to create the second driveway is to move that 2-inch tree to another location. We believe that there is a sufficient width there that those other 2 trees will survive. We will prepare a tree preservation plan to promote the survival of those trees. But then again, if you drove by the property, you would notice that the tree that's talking about being removed is something completely different than the rest of the tree line. It's something that was just recently planted that could be easily moved. And so we believe that having 2 driveways accomplishes much with safety. Without having a shared driveway agreement, it just basically makes this much more simple for the 2 owners of those properties to coexist. The history of unfortunately, the owner representative could not be here today. He's traveling and his flight's delayed, but he has assured me he'll be at the next meeting on February 17th. The property in question has been marketed for an extensive period of time. It has a very large tax bill of almost $80,000. The property has been on the market for an extended period of time, and in order to make it attainable for someone to purchase the historical landmarked home, we're seeking to create 2 lots there, which would then make the landmark home easier to maintain and to provide to be purchased an attainable house without a burden of having to maintain over 4 acres of property. It's a very large lot, as I mentioned, and we're just seeking to subdivide it into two lots. As Planner Hoffman mentioned, this property is in the R4 zoning district, which allows for a minimum lot area of 20,000 square feet. It is also in the lakefront density, character, and overlay zone, and due to its proximity to the lake, which requires a minimum lot size of 40,000 square feet. These lots are double the size as proposed of what's the minimum required in this zoning district. The lakefront density and character overlay zone was created over 20 years ago, and reading directly from the ordinance, the purpose was to preserve the density and character of lots in the R4 low to moderate density residential district located along the lakefront. In addition to protecting the character and density of the area, the lakefront overlay zone is intended to protect and preserve the ravines, lake bluffs, and beaches, as well as Lake Michigan itself. The lakefront overlay zone was created and is consistent with the lakefront district strategic plan, an element of the master plan, which was adopted by the city council some 20 years ago after numerous planning meetings and in which lakefront property owners and other city residents participated. Section 150.703.1D outlines the bulk regulations that are special bulk regulations in the lakefront overlay zone. I mentioned one of them earlier, which is the minimum lot size of 40,000 square feet. As proposed, each of these lots are over almost 90,000 square feet, double what the minimum required in the zoning district. The lakefront overlay zone has a more onerous average width of 100 feet that's already in the R4 zoning district, and both of these lots vastly exceed that 400-foot width. One lot's 162 feet, and another one's 180 feet. Again, more than 160% more than the minimum. So, based upon meeting, or actually in this situation exceeding the minimum requirements, the proposed lots are consistent with the goals and the purpose of the lakefront overlay zone. And this is the type of development that was contemplated when the council decided 20 years ago to create this zone, is to make sure that there's oversized lots in this R4 zoning district. As Planner Hoffman mentioned, there's two variances from the subdivision code that we're seeking tonight. One is the through lot. Again, that's the existing condition. We're not asking something that doesn't already exist, and it only pertains to one lot. And the other is the fact that these lots will not have four sides. Actually, one of the lots will have four sides, but it's not completely right angles. It's not a rectangle. And the other one will have six. And I will note that the topography of the lots, of the property is dictating that one lot has more than six sides. So as for the PUD, no modifications are being sought. We're just here as a technicality because this lot is oversized, over 3 acres. I will note that the proposed development preserves and intends to preserve a locally designated landmark and thus incorporates to the greatest extent practicable the property's historic resources. With regard to the staff comment, just the one that was Director Fontaine mentioned with regarding one driveway, we believe that 2 separate driveways improve safety, it improves the neighborhood character, avoids shared access maintenance conflicts, and aligns with standards that a single-family home within Highland Park would want. We have agreed to remove the existing sidewalk, and utilities will be buried for the new lot, but the existing lot, the utilities will remain as they exist. 2 letters of public comment were received today. One question regarding the historical preservation concern that will be addressed Thursday night when we appear in front of the HPC. Tree loss was the other aspect. There are no heritage trees intended to be removed or lost as a result of this proposed development. And as a matter of right, the current owner can remove any of the trees except for the heritage trees on the property. And the trees that one tree that we're talking about removing along the parkway, obviously at 2 inches, is not considered a protected or key tree at Highland Park. Another concern was raised about ravine stability. There's no variations from the steep slope ordinance being requested here, so the ravine will remain protected. Being adjacent to a park, there is a large ravine between this property and the park, so that creates a significant buffer. There was a concern about inadequate public notice. Proof of compliance of the statutory requirements is provided to the city staff. And the impact on the neighborhood character, and I would say that this development actually preserves it, is it's consistent with the master plan and consistent with the Lakefront District strategic plan, because this exceeds what the minimum bulk requirements that the Lakefront overlay zone requires. We are including a public benefit, although it's not required, because we are doing this to try to seek to promote historic preservation with regard to keeping the landmark home and also making a donation to the Historic Preservation Fund. So in sum, we believe that the newly subdivided lots comport well with the neighborhood. The existing landmark home will remain untouched, and we believe by making it easier to be preserved for generations to come. The newly created lots will comply with the minimum lot size, actually vastly exceed the minimum lot size, depth, area of the zoning district. And we believe the variation is consistent with the spirit and intent of the subdivision code. But for those two small variations that we're seeking, this could be, except for the PUD because of the large size, this could be done as a matter of right. So we thank you for the consideration. We're available. I'm available for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from the commission for the petitioner?
Thank you.
No questions? Yeah, okay, we do have.
So in regards to the lot being like an L shape and the other one being more regular shape, did the applicant consider having them just split down the middle, not having that odd L shape?
Yeah, we talked about that, but because of the ravine, and that's all ravine property, we decided, there's also if you look along Park Avenue, there is actually a little, I want to call it a coach house or something on the other side of the ravine, and that's why we decided to do it. Actually, to be completely frank, we actually explored doing 3 lots because this lot's big enough to do it. After consulting with staff, we thought that this was probably the best way to do it. So yes, we did consider it, but because of that ravine, and just because there is some stream down there, we thought it'd be best to keep that within 1 lot.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Mantis.
I actually have the same thought, so I appreciate the question. What was since you looked at it, what was the square footage of the lot if you actually just drew that straight line?
Well, the property is about, it's roughly about 185,000 square feet, so it's roughly, I can't calculate. I mean, I could come back and give you the number.
Yeah, I'm just curious, because it seems like if you would have drawn a straight line, like, it seems like by doing the L shape, you're picking up a lot of like lot square footage.
I could probably say with confidence that there'll be over the 40,000, that's a minimum required in the zoning district, just because it has to go all the way through, because you have that accessory structure along Park Avenue, so I would say, I think it was, it was just evening out the lot sizes also, making it both very similar.
Well, you couldn't build anything up on that upper portion, because that's all steep slope, so.
Yeah.
Sure.
I have a question for staff, are we?
Yes, please.
So, when I was reading the letters from the concerned neighbors, one neighbor seems concerned that many houses or many lots on the block will do this. But are there any other bigger properties on this street that could afford to do this? In the sense is that, are they larger than 80,000 square feet?
I'm pulling up the map.
Okay.
I mean, if I'm just the largest property on this block is the Park District property, obviously on the east.
On the end.
And then, beyond that, obviously, I have to state the obvious caveat that these are hypotheticals, but I'm just gonna pull it up so you can at least have a gander at the sizes. of the properties here. I hope that's visible.
Yeah.
So the immediate property to the west is, well, actually, they're not big enough to subdivide, actually, because this is in the lakefront character and density overlay zone, and so you have to be at least 40,000 square feet, which means you need at least double that to subdivide. This property is only 45,000, so they are not that. So, no, these ones along the west, no, they're not going to be large enough to meet the LFOZ.
Okay. And really neither are the ones on the other side of the street.
Oh, like to the south?
Yeah.
I mean, just eyeballing it, I mean, what is this, the
Right.
biggest one? I mean, this one's, no, I mean, no. These are not big enough to meet the LFOZ. I don't know if the ones on the lake are or not. But those are on the lake, those are larger. Well, I mean, again, we're speaking hypothetically, this one's over 80,000 square feet. This one's just basically at 80,000 square feet. Of course, there's other considerations, right? You also have to meet the 100 feet width requirement as well. So I also want to point that out on those large lanky lots.
Okay, thanks. One comment I had on the letter from Wendy Binstock Rush was in the first paragraph of impact on neighborhood character. It says, introducing two houses on a single lot would significantly alter the visual landscape and could lead to further requests for similar developments, ultimately changing the neighborhood's character. But it's not going to be a single lot, it's going to be two lots.
Well, that's the request, right?
Right.
It's currently a single zoning lot.
Right.
And the applicant wants to make it into two zoning lots.
Right.
One to keep the original structures, and then one for new construction.
I understand that, I just wanted to clarify
Oh, okay.
the comment. Sorry.
Sorry.
I'm used to that.
Director Fontaine.
Chairman Kirsch, okay. Carl, can you click on the property in question, 147 Central, just to give everyone that just gives you a good visual relative to the other lots in the area of the difference in size.
Yeah, I mean, this
Okay,
one is much larger. It's
I mean,
191,000 square feet.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
much
okay.
larger
I just,
than the rest.
just wanted to have that visual there so that folks can understand
Yeah.
it's substantially larger than the
Yeah.
other.
The only property that's
lots.
larger, like I said, is the Park District property.
Yes, Commissioner Angel.
I have a question just about the building massing that could happen on that eastern lot if development were to move forward for a single family home there. Like what would the zoning regulations allow to go up on that lot?
So, if I may respond.
Yes, please.
There was an exhibit in the packet, I will just scroll to that, where the applicant laid out a buildable area, which at least, and Patrick, if I'm wrong, step up, this at least meets or exceeds the city requirements, right? It may even
Yeah,
possibly exceed.
That's correct, because they're showing 25 feet from the steep slope zone. This is ravine, you only need 10 feet. So that is a little bit more restrictive, and there's a couple inconsistencies from this exhibit from the plat of subdivision. I'm working with the applicant to get those clarified, but as it's currently shown, it's still a little bit more restrictive
Yeah.
than what is required for the R4 zoning district and the steep slope zone.
So, yeah, I would just add to that, so, if this is ultimately recommended for approval, and if it is approved, staff would recommend, and so the applicant should also be aware, the staff will recommend that whatever final building envelope they propose be attached to the ordinance, that there be a condition of approval that any building has to occur within that envelope. And so the applicant can get up and speak if the applicant wants, or the chair wants, because evidently this exhibit may be slightly tweaked, but that's the exhibit that's before you today, but this will have to come back to at least one more meeting. And so that large green area is approximately the buildable area they're proposing. And so they would have to build the home and any other structures within there, other than, driveway, sidewalk, et cetera, but the home and accessory buildings will have to go within that area. And that's bounded, by the steep slope zone on the north and the east, and then a considerable front setback of 123 feet, if I'm reading that right. Hopefully that answers the question.
I don't have the FAR memorized, but that's something that I can try and pull up really quick for you.
Was that the report?
We can come back with
I believe so.
that calculation if we don't have it already, with the FAR, for next time. So that
was
you
in the
can
report.
understand the envelope we're talking about.
That the historic house is over 4,000 square feet or, I mean, more, right?
Yeah, I mean,
If they would build out that whole buildable area, it'd be
There you go.
So the,
50,000 square foot house.
the max FAR for this property is about 15,000 square feet.
Yeah, as proposed, the maximum floor area for the new lot would be just over 15,000 square feet, which is a bit, it's a large property.
It's a large building.
Can we constrain the new house to have that 125-foot,
Front yard?
what was that? Distance from the lot line to the house? So like setback, sorry. Can it,
So the front yard you're meaning?
yes, so can we stipulate that any new house built on it can't be built any closer to the street than the house that's already there?
Right, and I think that's what the applicant is proposing by their buildable plan, because it actually states it's aligned with the existing historic home, which is 123.34 feet. But to answer your question, though, yes, the commission can certainly consider that type of condition.
I just remember when I wanted to add on to my house, we had to run around the neighborhood and with a tape measure and measure to the like front door to the sidewalk for all the houses and not exceed the average.
So the established building setback is what I believe you're referring to.
Yes.
This exceeds that, requirement.
The staff's comment about the buildable area being made part of any final documents or decision.
That would take care of that, right?
Thank you.
Other questions? I do have one for the petitioner. If, it's a little cart before the horse because the Historic Preservation Commission obviously needs to weigh in on this. But I'm just wondering what, one of the public comments talked about the historical significance, including the open space of the landscaping, that the whole site would be landmarked because it was that way to start with. Like, I mean, what's your argument?
Well, obviously, I don't want to get into the weeds tonight, but if you looked at the nomination original nomination from 1985, it does not include the area to the east, that where this lot 2 is going to be located. However, in a 1988 survey, it does mention the lot area, but we're going to maintain that it's the nomination, and what was included in the nomination and what the city council actually voted on was the historical attributes of this property are all located on the western portion of the property. So we're going to preserve all of that. So we're going to focus on the nomination and not on the survey that was done that was not actually approved by the Historical Preservation Commission.
Thank you. Yes, Director Fontaine.
So this matter will be considered by HPC and they will make a recommendation. That report will come back to you along with the information that they've gotten also. That information, by the way, is posted. There's a staff report out there. We don't have the staff member here this evening for you to deliver a presentation on that, but know that that will be considered by HPC and that will then travel back to you in its entirety.
And I'm sure they will do wonderful work when they do get briefed.
Yes, and again, they're just recommending, I mean, obviously they don't have veto power, but we're gonna present our case there Thursday night.
Thank you. Thanks. Any other questions from the commission? Do we have any members of the public who would like to comment on this issue?
I have a couple of questions.
Or
I
we
wonder,
could have Councilwoman Ross comment.
a couple of questions, but I don't know if would it be more appropriate to wait after public comment or?
No, go ahead.
However the
I didn't see anybody rushing.
However the
up.
chair decides. Yeah.
And I want to be clear, and Corporation Counsel Steve Elrod can confirm that I ran these two questions by him to ask if it was appropriate, and he said it was. It's for the applicant. this property was listed for 5.5 million, but didn't sell. And is that correct? I want to ask that. And did you get any offers? And what were they? Again, I ran all of this by Steve Elrod, had a long conversation and with him. And in addition to that question, I want to ask, why does the applicant think it will be more sellable at a price that obviously the applicant's happy with as a divided lot? And I ask that because might we be seeing you again in a couple of years, asking to have that historic landmarking off of the house because you weren't able to sell, they weren't able to sell that. So those are my three questions.
Okay.
I don't know if you're able to keep track of that.
And I'll try to address one of them at a time, each at a time. With regard to the offer price and what offers have been received, I don't have that information, so I can't respond to that. The second question was?
Why does the applicant think it will be more sellable as a divided lot?
Okay, well, right now it's.
With the historic.
Yeah, sure. So with regards to why we think it's more attainable with having it subdivided, currently, first of all, you'd be able to get a lesser purchase price, but also the real estate taxes will be significantly less on the historical home because right now they're pushing $80,000, and there's also been, if you looked at the assessed valuation for 2025, it's increased about 8%. So they're anticipating real estate taxes pushing up to $90,000. Logic has that if the property, let's say, cut in half, then the real estate taxes will be reduced, which would make the carrying of the property much easier, which allow someone to come in and embrace the home to try to free up additional funds to help preserve and improve the existing landmarked home. So it just makes it easier. It makes it easier to market it because it has lower real estate taxes.
One other follow-up question. I'm pretty sure there's a property across the street that's an acre, I'm not connected, and not my property, that is 1 acre that has about $70,000 in taxes attached to that 1 acre. And then of course, the existing house is going to, I assume, need extensive renovation, so. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot goes into a real estate tax bill. There's two aspects, it's the land and also the structure. I know nothing about the house across the street, what the condition of the structure is and how much the improvements are. So I can't speculate on why that's a certain amount and this is a certain amount. Because no two houses are the same. And that's just the way the assessor.
I'm just saying that just the pure acreage, it doesn't.
No, we have to look at the land, how the land is being assessed.
Yeah.
Now, with regard to your last question, with regard to what stops us from coming back in the future to seek the removal of the landmark designation on the existing landmarked home, and staff can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that you can only remove the landmark designation if the reason for the landmark does not exist anymore. So, for example, if this house burned down, the reason for the landmarking doesn't exist, so therefore the landmarking can be removed. The reason why we're seeking to remove the landmark designation from Lot 2 is because all of the landmark designation, all the structures, everything that's landmarked is on the west lot. So if the lot is approved, if Lot 2 is approved, none of the attributes of the landmarking exist on Lot 2, which then would allow the Historical Preservation Commission to remove the landmark designation as to Lot 2. We cannot, no future owner can go in front of the Historical Preservation Commission, and correct me if I'm wrong, if they cannot go in front of the Historical Preservation Commission unless, again, as I said earlier, the reason for the landmarking continues to exist. Thank you. Is that correct?
Those are my questions.
I can wait.
Applications can be made, it doesn't mean that, I'm sorry.
The process is such that the The request to remove the landmark designation would go before the Historic Preservation Commission for their recommendation, and then it would go before the city council. One of the criteria for the city council to consider in order to remove that landmark designation is whether or not the conditions upon which the historic designation were granted are no longer present.
Yes. Thank you. He said it much better than I could. Thank you.
Okay, once again, any members of the public who would like to speak on this matter? If not, I guess, what's the commission's pleasure? We have definitely are going to continue this to the 17th. Do you wish to direct findings of fact or not? Thoughts? Sir, I'm sorry. If you'd like to speak, I need you to come up to the podium and be sworn in.
Well versed in etiquette here.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And you have 3 minutes limit here. That's kind of a citywide way to keep things.
Yes.
We also need your name and spell your last name, please.
Okay, Charles Gonzalez, spelled last name Gonzalez. We were one of the parties that filed a public complaint, if you will. We live across the street from 147 Central, and the reasons for our concerns, I think, were laid out quite well in the notice. I had a question on the definition of heritage as it relates to tree lines. That was one of the concerns that we raised in terms of the just the overall environmental and natural setting of the property. And I think it was stated that none of the heritage trees would be affected. So I was just asking simply to define that for my benefit. Thank you.
Okay, without the forester here, I'm hoping that Mr. Burhop can
Chair, would you?
share with us the definition
May I
of a
define that?
heritage tree. Yes, please.
And first, let me also point out, the city forester reviews all of these in detail, and the city forester's comments were included in both the staff report and packet, and also my colleague, Mr. Hoffman, also just paraphrased or summarized the forester's findings in the presentation. So the city forester did not identify any heritage tree concerns. Having said that, here's the definition from chapter 94 of city code. Heritage tree, any tree of the following genre, I don't know how to say that word, is it genre? Or species? All trees in the genus Quercus, in parentheses, oaks, greater than or equal to 30 inches diameter breast height, so it uses DBH. Ulmus americana, in parentheses, American elm, greater than or equal to 40 inches DBH. All trees in the genus Caria, parentheses, hickory, greater than or equal to 20 inches DBH, or all trees in the genus Juglans, in parentheses, walnut, greater than or equal to 30 inches DBH. That's it, that's the definition. They use those 4 species at those inch diameter at breast height. Sorry for my Latin.
Okay,
If
and
that is
to
Latin.
reiterate, the forest, nothing will happen on this site
Chapter 90.
without the forester having a say.
Can I make a comment on Mr. Gonzalez's note that he has requests for action at the bottom, restrictions on tree removal with mandatory replacement ratios. That doesn't come from us, that comes from the city and the forester, correct? Strict setback requirements to protect the ravine, again, that comes from the city code. So that's already there. The height and mass limitations for any new construction, again, we already have rules for that. an extended public comment period, given the inadequate initial notice. I guess I can't comment to that because I don't know when the notices went out, but I feel that if we're not meeting again until the 17th of February, that's a lot of time. That's like almost 5 or 6 weeks.
Agreed.
So I just wanted to clarify those things.
Thank you.
I also can confirm that the applicant did do the notice per the date. And it was, signs are up in front of the property and an ad in the newspaper as well.
Great, thank you. So your question,
My question is, do we merely continue this, or do we direct findings of fact as well as continue? What's your
so
pleasure?
we have not discussed any of the, we would have to, I think, agree as a commission on the variations before we direct findings of fact, correct?
Well, I think those would be included
In the findings of fact,
on the
okay.
findings of
But we
fact.
would have to agree,
That we approved
I
it.
would feel like it would be silly to direct findings of fact if we're not going to approve.
Right, so
Such a
that's-
thing.
I guess I'm just asking a sense of how everybody feels, without having a
So-
motion on the table.
And then, yeah, it's trying to get the temperature. So then my concern would be, I almost feel like I want to hear from the Historic Preservation Commission
Agree with that, for
that
sure.
maybe we just continue it till the 17th and think on all these other things. In the meantime, I guess I don't have a problem with the subdivision variations, just so you know.
Thank you.
Point of order clarification.
Yes.
I mean, if we're gonna continue to the 17th of February, but the Historic Preservation Commission is going to meet on Thursday, we can still direct staff to draft findings of fact and just be ready to approve it theoretically.
Or not.
Or not on the 17th, or, on the 17th of February, assuming it's a thumbs up from the Historic Preservation Commission,
Right,
correct?
and again, to findings of fact do not obligate us to
Right.
approve
That's
them,
right.
and if they needed to be amended,
Yep.
we could send them back.
Yep, that's correct.
So, yes. I don't know if there's a hurry on this project or not.
Defer to the applicant.
It's not really, I mean, I too think we need to hear from the Historic Commission first, just, yes, if you,
This has actually been a unique process. We filed this application back in October, and I'm not trying to, and this took a lot of consideration by the staff in trying to create what the process is going to be. It took a while for them to pin it down, because this has never been done before in Highland Park. And so, again, we've been patient, and we've worked with staff, and this is not an indictment of what staff has done to the state. It's just that this has taken a long time to get to this point. What we would request is that you request findings of fact to be drafted. They can be amended on the 17th. I just hate to have to this pushes basically back to April to possibly get approvals, which would be 6 or 7 months after the initial application was filed. So I just hate to lose the whole month. And again, it's not going to be detrimental to anything, because obviously you're not voting on the findings of fact tonight. You're just directing staff to draft them. And I think that would just help speed up the process, because again, as an applicant, they've been very patient waiting for over 2 months to get to this point where we can get a hearing. Actually, 2.5 months.
does that sway the commission at all?
I mean, I agree. I think we can go ahead and ask for them to be drafted. And then it'd be nice if we could have the results from the Historic Preservation Commission meeting on the 8th at our next meeting, so that we can be thinking about it, but I don't know if that's possible.
Madam Chair, just, okay, with due respect to the applicant, yes, this is a complicated project, and we did spend some considerable time with regard to the historic aspect of the project. However, there is, how complete is an application upon submittal is also in question too. What I would say to you is staff does not oppose whatever action you take in terms of directing us to do or not to do. We've done this before. You can, as the chair aptly pointed out, modify any of the draft findings that we provide. The information from the Historic Preservation Commission will be provided to you as part of that package on the 17th, should their deliberations end. If they have not ended by that time, we'll be seeking another continuation. Those are all posted online and they're available for viewing. We will send the commission, a link to that information, and you can take a look at their packet as you would as your own. So does that answer your question?
Yes.
So you'll have all that information?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
One could also attend the meeting on the 8th.
I would say that's not necessary for the commission to do that.
Watch from home. All right.
Okay, can I get a motion of some sort?
So I'll move that we ask staff to direct findings of fact, recommending approval
Of all those things, the
of all
special
those
use permit,
things.
yes, okay.
You know, the variations that have been requested for the subdivision.
Point of clarity, Mr. Chair, so are there any conditions with that? We had mentioned some considerations with regard to driveway or not, and the area of the buildable area being shown on the plans, things like that. Want to make sure that those conditions would be included, if there's anything that,
Do we need those in the findings of fact, or can we add those?
no, you can add those, but I just
when we
wanted
get the
clarity on
findings of
that for the applicant.
Okay. I think that's probably more expeditious than
Okay.
discussing. Okay, is there a second? Thank you.
So we have the motion on the floor in the second, just as to directing findings of fact, did you also want to continue the case to February 17th?
Can we do that together, or?
You may.
Okay, so I'll make a friendly amendment that we continue this to the February 17th meeting.
Good with me.
All right.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion?
No.
Then Director Fontaine, could you call the roll, please?
This can be a voice vote because it's just a continuance in direction to.
Oh, okay. Darn. How did I get that one? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion has passed, and we will get findings of fact, and this matter has been continued to our regular meeting on February 17th, 2026. And Mr. Director Fontaine will tell us about notice.
So your notice is actual. There will be no new notice for this meeting's continuation to February 17th, 2026, in this room, City Council Chambers, 7 p.m. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
You did vote to draft findings of fact?
Yes, that's right.
That's correct. And we will provide those, I should have said, we'll provide those draft findings of fact. That's correct.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Next item on our agenda is information item, administrative design review update. Is there any such update?
There are none of those. Quiet on that front.
Well, that took care of that. Next meeting, January 20th, 2026, a regular meeting at City Hall. That's right here, but I believe there's big item on the agenda. Am I right?
Yes, so that's been noticed for. It will be the final plan development, design review, and final plat for the 1700 Old Deerfield Road, former Solo Cup site project.
And there's nothing else then, right?
That's all for that agenda, yes.
Good.
That will be here in this council
What date
chamber.
was that? What date is that?
The 20th, January.
Hey, people, can you, if we still have one item of business or two to conduct, is there any case briefing?
No, and just to clarify, Councilmember Ross asked, it's January 20th.
No, I heard.
This room, yeah.
I did have something I wanted to say before, it's not about any of the projects. Before you adjourn, I wanted to say something.
Okay, well, is there any business from the public? Is there any business from our council liaison?
Just the business of, I was not able, I did try to get somebody to sub for me for the last meeting, so I wasn't able to attend it. But I did want to say, because I wasn't able to say it then, a big thank you to the prior Chair Moore for her service as Chair of the Commission, and through some rather big material, including the Solo Cup site. And welcome to the new Chair, Steve Kirch. Thank you for your service. Thank you all for your service.
Thank you.
I wanted to
I
say.
too wish to applaud Chairman Moore and actually applaud Reva Bohr for agreeing to stay on this commission and help me out.
I'll stay till I'm kicked off or.
But I believe your recognition and plaque and all the great things that come along at the end will probably come at the end of your full term, right? So,
That's correct. And I do want to recognize Vice Chair Nanis. Welcome aboard as well. And former Chair Moore, it was a pleasure working with you as chair, as we've said to you.
Thank you. That's very kind.
I should add that, welcome to Vice Chair. Yes.
And Chair, we talked to you the other day, and thank you for taking that meeting. We congratulate the chair and look forward to working with you as well. Thank you very much.
last item of business is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No.
God, I hope.